Hey everyone, Brian from Bearable Traders. Sunday, January 12th. Hope everyone's had a great weekend. So, market recap for the week. Take a look ahead, see what's coming our way. And of course, we got earnings kicking off this week. We got a lot of earnings coming up here. Let's take a quick look. You can see here we got a lot of the banks reporting: JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi, Goldman Sachs, all the biggies. Delta Airlines, United Health, some of the other sectors, Schlumberger, Kinder Morgan, energy side, and you can see, like I said, Morgan Stanley. We've got quite a host of earnings coming up, so we're getting into earnings season. Nothing big on Monday, but Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday we start ramping up here. So let's just take a look at the week. Again, we had a bit of a sell-off on Friday after the jobs numbers came out. I think the payroll numbers, hourly earnings stuff was weaker as well. Market didn't like it too much, although I was surprised it didn't actually move higher on those numbers because it just would give the Fed more reason to keep pumping money into the system to keep everything afloat. And they've been continuing to do that. I won't pull up the Fed balance sheet today, but again, the balance sheet just keeps expanding. It pulled back a little bit, but the trend is still up. So that's keeping this market going for sure. It's one of the main reasons, I think. But let's take a look at the groups here. Don't fight the Fed, as they say. So you can see people are shifted back into real estate, utilities. These are the sort of the dividend payers. That was the one day on a weekly basis. We had technology, healthcare. I think we've got a big healthcare conference coming up starting on Monday, and maybe some of the biotechs and some of the health related stocks will be certainly on the radar. There may be some we may see some merger Mondays or some talk of partnerships throughout that 2 to 3 days where the conference goes on and leaves down in San Francisco. So we'll be watching the biotechs, and I've actually got a couple biotechs I'm specifically going to go over here shortly that I've been playing in, and a few more I've come up with. So conglomerates, technology on the monthly basis, we're still in the risk on scenario. And going back to the homepage here quickly, you can see here this trend is still a friend, and the trend is still looking positive. Market internals look pretty good. Even on a down day, we had way more new highs than new lows. So, yeah. Let's take a look at the markets. We'll just, the transports here, see what it did on a weekly basis. Quickly, still up on the week, right at this level of resistance. Again, the Dow theory, transports should be moving higher if the Dow is going to go higher, and we've got some strength going on here. Still higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So trend is a friend, but we're right up here against some pretty stiff resistance from here, 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 and here. So we'll see if we can actually break out this week. And again, a lot of it's going to depend on what earnings, and specifically not just the earnings, but the guidance that you're going to hear from some of the CFOs and CEOs that are going to come out and kind of give their prognostications, it's a hard word to say, about what they see coming for the next quarter, next year. That will probably obviously have a pretty significant impact on how the market reacts. So let's go with a 10-year. We had a pull down there on the Treasury on the yields. Friday, just again, the weak jobs number. Again, thinking the Fed may be in play with another rate reduction at some point. Weekly, again, we kind of sold off there, but held this 180 level. Again, that's what I've been saying. We're kind of chopping in this range. I mean, some people would look at that and say that's an ascending triangle, which it is. You can see here, flat ascending coming up here. If it were to move the other way, I'd be looking for a break of sort of the 190 level if we can actually break above that. We filled this gap here, and we may be heading to 2 if that break did happen. So here we got definitely got a level at 2.15-ish where there'd be some more resistance there. So something to keep an eye on. Again, Dow made new high and then pulled back on day. We'll stand not on great volume. Friday kind of volume tapered off a little bit, so not a lot of selling pressure even though we did end down. On the week we still ended up even though we did pull back significantly from the high. Let's take a look. Let's just skip to the weeklies. Again, IWM still the lagger in all the indexes, did have a positive week overall, even though we did pull back significantly on Friday. I believe we did pull back fairly significantly, not that much, and then we did bounce off a level here, and we made a higher low even though we did pull back. So trend still may be the friend here, may be higher. We're sort of sitting close to a level of resistance. This is certainly becoming resistance here, 167. So keep an eye on that. Again, the Q's pulled back Friday, but still on a weekly basis, still higher and really oversold or overbought here. You can see RSI is almost over 80. Volume relatively lackluster. You can see here at higher volume days, this volume has not been great, although we have been moving higher. SPX by the 500 again on the week, new high, but we did pull back a little bit. Again, getting into an overbought condition. Volume pretty decent on Friday, or on the week, I should say. Dollar pulled back on the weakness as well on Friday, but it just seems to be churning in a range. And the VIX. VIX again right back down to this sort of 12 level. So again, we'll have to see what happens with the indexes, and when we start getting the earnings start rolling in, mostly on Tuesday, people will be watching what the banks say for sure. And yeah, so let's look at quickly look at what I've got active. Still holding this APDN. They are presenting, and they're having some meetings this week at that conference I mentioned. So I'm holding on to that, even though it did lose the 20 moving average. I'm just hoping it holds this sort of $4 area here, 388, 390. I may add, and if it falls further, then I'll get out. But I'm hoping you'll get some interest during the conference in the next couple days, and maybe we'll get a pop like we got here. It's a low float stock, 3 million shares. So again, it's a little bit of a risky trade here. CYCN, this is another one that's a nice biotech's been moving up. It's just steady mover, moving higher. A little bit of that. LKM out of. We had a big pullback day on Friday, but you know, got back in here around 33.90 when it bottomed out at this 20 moving average. Actually got in here, got stopped out on the pull, and then added back after we held this 20 moving average and partialed all the way up here. Got a really nice trade on that. So I'm back in it again. I got back in it on Friday, and I sold some upside calls against it. So we'll see where it goes on tomorrow. I didn't post that trade because it's a little bit of a risky trade, I think. OPGN, again, bought it here, sold some of it up here, over half, pulled back, bought it back again, and now it looks like it's going to pop again here. I'm just hoping we can get maybe up to, well, 158. I think I sold at 150 level. So we'll see if we can get a push through this sort of 144, 150 level this time, and maybe at least maybe get back up to 160, 170 level. Be optimistic to think we're going to get pushed through and get up to filling the gap. But anyway, this is looking pretty positive. RSI is coming up nicely, coming back up over the 50. MACD is trending higher. Volume was coming up a little bit on Friday, and this was a down day Friday. The stock was up, so I'm fairly optimistic about that position. And let's take a look at some of the biotechs I'm looking at real quickly here. I'm looking at APOP. Again, this had some news back on, I believe it was the 8th or the 7th, I guess. Popped up significantly, and now it's pulled back. Holofill candle day actually pulled back to this 200 moving average, and now it looks like it's holding there. So I was thinking maybe it'll do a little bit of a rebound here. Maybe we can come back up and get to at least get to the 350, 360 level, and then stop out around 290. So I'll be watching that on Monday. See if I can get a decent entry. This MBOT, it looks interesting. It looks like it wants to pop higher again. This again would be something similar, a pattern similar to this, where you get a pullback and then you get pop back up. So I'll be looking for something like that. MBOT, I don't know really. It was something I pulled up on a scan, but I'm not. Volume kind of came in on it. I'm not exactly sure where a good entry would be, because I'd have to put my stop at 11, around 11, and it's up at 13. So I don't think the risk reward on this is great right now. TRVO is TROV, another stock I'm kind of interested in. Had a nice pop up. Now it's pulled back, and we seem to be holding this $1.20 level. So maybe we can get another pop, maybe up to 140, and then you'd set a stop, maybe sort of 115 area. 115 area is what I'm looking at, and so we'll be keeping an eye on that one on Monday. What else we got here? Quickly on watch, BBio. Was watching this one. It's definitely kind of breaking down here. So Clovis, another biotech, kind of trying to hold this 50 moving average here. Maybe keep an eye on that one to see if it holds. Crowd have been in and out of, but it's really a difficult stock to trade. I think I'm going to delete that because I just got stopped out of it once, and I've noticed it's kind of choppy. I don't know what's going on with it, why it's so choppy. Gold, unfortunately, I got in and got out flat on I think it was Thursday or Wednesday, and then gold just took off on that number on Friday. You can see here we had a big pop up, and now it's coming back up again. Take a look at Nugget in a minute. This is LK, talked about that already. MJ, again, just seems to be chopping along the bottom here. Probably take that one off my watch too, because I don't think the marijuana stocks are going to make any significant moves one way or another. So Nugget kind of held this 30 level. And so I'll be watching to see what happens to that on Monday. At some point, it's going to, I think with all the low interest rates, and maybe geopolitical risk, I think we're going to maybe see a pop back up here. 34 could definitely be in play. So we'll keep an eye on that, but it looks like this level of 30 held. Roku looks like it's actually going to break down here. You can see here's some support here. Support where it came down here, 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 and here. And if it were to break down further, you'd be looking at somewhere in this 120, 119 range for a possible bounce. So something to keep an eye on as well. Semiconductors kind of rolled over on Friday. Again, TNA, this is a proxy on the small caps. UNG had a nice pop, but did kind of a not a pretty looking doji if you were long going out at the end of the day there. Significant significant pullback on the oil trade, so we'll see if that can hold now. But again, it was popped up on all the geopolitical risk, and that was it. So again, we're kind of looking weak. And we're back to BBio. And one of our traders in the room actually pointed out GOOS. Kind of looks interesting. Looking at that as a possible short, you can see here, although unfortunately it's a little late on the trade, but you can see here it's lost this level of support, and should have taken a short on it on Friday, but you can see here the weekly. Again, it's right at a level of support here. The only thing is it does have a fairly significant short interest. We had a fair amount of selling on Friday. I think it heads lower. I think it could head down to 30. So if you get a good entry on that one, 35-ish would be your stop. Maybe if it pops up a bit, could be a decent short down to at least 30 anyway. All right. Well, that's it, everybody. That's the look ahead for the week. We'll see how things go. Again, like I said, everything's going to be, all ears are going to be on some of the, on the earnings reports, and specifically not just the reports themselves, but the commentary on how the economy is looking, and sort of forward guidance, as they say. So this is my book on Amazon, How to Swing Trade, if you want to pick it up. I haven't already. And again, I hope everyone had a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody, weekend. And if you're joining us in the Bear Bull Trading Room tomorrow, we'll see you. We're on live on YouTube starting at 8:30 Eastern. And we'll be doing a pre-market show there. You can tune in for free. And that's about it. See you in the morning if you're joining us. Bye for now.